declaration of a sit-at-home without any constitutional power, especially the accompanied by the threat, is a terrorist act.
Hey, terrorist act.
The defendant did not present any evidence to rebut this case, the case of the prosecution.
Wow.
Consequently, he admits the evidence as presented by the prosecution.
Okay.
The prosecution has successfully proved count 2 beyond reasonable doubt.
Wow.
Consequently, the defendant is hereby convicted of count 2.
Wow.
Any judgment, let it be on record. Any judgment.
Nnamdi Kanu.
Ask him where is the law. Ask him what show. Where is the law? Where is the law? I'm warning, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. I said, don't touch me. Don't. Smart people. You don't know law. Show me where it says you can wear mask. I want to show me the law. You don't know law. They are reporting you. You're writing rubbish. Show me the law. Unaddressed affidavit. You say you go fit and you did their job for them. God will punish you now and forever. Any judgment, let it be on record. Any judgment in this court is rubbish. Ask him where is the law.
This very court is a material defiance of an appellate court judgment, the Supreme Court, with specific regards to count 7, which does not exist in the laws of this very country. The presence of count 7 on this charge sheet, my lord, nullifies this entire proceedings.
Wow.
Completely and totally. Because count 7, my lord, does not exist in the laws of this very country.
My goddess. So after all the back and forth, now the Federal High Court in Abuja, which was presided over by Justice James Omotosho, has finally convicted Nnamdi Kanu on all 7 counts of terrorism charges which were filed against him by the federal government. Now, what are the 7 charges? I'm going to take you through all of that. I'm going to break down what they all mean and what they are. My name is Kweku Africa. If today is the first time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Now, let's get into the video.
If you've enjoyed this video so far, please do me a huge favor and hit the like button and subscribe. These videos take quite a long time to make, so if you could help me out, I'll love you forever. Thank you all for your support. Now let's get back to this crazy story.
Now, this is the penultimate number and it's number 2. At number 2, I present to you Kweku Africa. Wow! This guy has a thunderous voice. Like, when he speaks, you wanna listen. I've been able to watch a couple of his videos and I sincerely will tell you that he makes great impression in whatever content he's going to present. Thank you so much, Mr. Kweku. Keep up the good work.
So if today is your first time, there is, the first chapter of the video that we did, I ran you through series of events that happened. You can check that in the bio, or just go through the video and then find it out. But these are, in short and simple terms, events which unfolded onto the very day which was ahead for the determination of the case. So, Nnamdi Kanu was, rearrested and extradited from Kenya whilst on bail in 2017. And he was rearrested and brought back to Nigeria in June 2021 to face trial on the existing charges. So this process, which was known as the rendition, was later deemed unlawful and illegal by a Kenyan High Court, which awarded damages to Nnamdi Kanu. So he got some money from that. But following that, fresh charges were amended and were added to his charges, after which the federal government of Nigeria filed an amended set of charges against him. Now, these charges primarily focus on terrorism, treasonable felony, and publishing intentionally misleading broadcasts via Radio Biafra. And that was what made the allegations serious for Nnamdi Kanu. And he's been battling, back and forth since then. So in October 2022, the appeals court in Nigeria, Abuja, acquitted and discharged Nnamdi Kanu of all charges and said that he was free to go. He was discharged and acquitted of all terrorism charges, ruling that his rendition from Kenya was illegal and stripped the Federal High Court of jurisdiction. And that is what Nnamdi Kanu has been using all along. But that victory was very short-lived, as the federal government also took the case to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court eventually reversed the appeals court decision in 2023, reinstating the charges and ordering Nnamdi Kanu to return to the Federal High Court to face trial. That was interesting though. But so Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers and team went back to court. They went back to court, but what they did was that they filed a no-case submission, arguing that the prosecution had failed to establish a prima facie case against him, and therefore the charges should be dropped without the defense having to call any witnesses. And so they wanted to, prevent the courts at all costs from, calling witnesses and even pursuing the case, because according to them, the appeals court has already adjudicated the matter. But in September 2025, the Federal High Court, presided over by Justice James Omotosho, overruled the no-case submission, holding that the prosecution had established enough evidence to warrant a defense. And so Kanu was then ordered to enter into his defense, which they refused. They gave them several times to enter into his defense, but he still refused. Now, in October 2025, something interesting happened, which is that Kanu's team of lawyers all withdrew from being a lawyer from Kanu. Instead, they said they were advisors and consultants, and he opted to represent himself in the law court. Now, what they said was that Nnamdi Kanu has refused to allow them handle the proceedings, and that was what led to Nnamdi Kanu opting to represent himself. So now, Nnamdi Kanu didn't have any lawyers. Instead, he had what he called consultants. So Nnamdi Kanu was given the opportunity to represent himself because, in court, you have that option to represent yourself or you choose a lawyer. That's up to you. But severally, he refused to open his defense, arguing that there was no valid charge known to law against him and that the courts lacked jurisdiction. And he went on despite being given multiple deadlines. So finally, he was given up to November 5th, 2025 to present his case, but he still failed to present his case, still insisting that the court did not have jurisdiction to even try the case and that the trial was not in the law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
And in a brief overview of what is contained in my motion, my Lord, my contention is very simple. That ab initio, this court lacks jurisdiction to try me, that this very court is a material defiance of an appellate court judgment, the Supreme Court, with specific regards to count 7, which does not exist in the laws of this very country, and which the Supreme Court mandated this very court to amend.
So the judge, led by Justice James Omotosho, then ruled that by failing to open his defense, Kanu had waived his right to do so. And so the court proceeded to fix a date for the final judgment based solely on the prosecution's evidence, because Nnamdi Kanu has failed to open his defense severally. He was given several times, but he failed. So the court day started, and Nnamdi Kanu, he was self-representing himself. But then he ended up almost fighting with everybody in the law court. Quarreling with everybody. He was quarreling with the prosecution team, quarreled with the judges, quarreled with, everybody.
I'm warning, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. I said, don't touch me. Smart people. You don't know law. Show me where it says you can wear mask. I want to show me the law. You don't know law. They are promoting you. You are writing rubbish. Show me the law. Unaddressed affidavit. You say you profit. Are you doing their job for them? God will punish you now and forever. Any judgment, let it be on record. Any judgment in this court is rubbish. Ask him where is the law.
In telling them God will punish them, all those words on them. So eventually the court had to, send Nnamdi Kanu out. Was asked to pick out whilst the verdict was being delivered. behind him.
Transport of an international protected person in a manner likely to endanger his person or liberty. C. Threatening to commit any such attack, commit an offence, and is liable on conviction to life imprisonment. The High Commissioner is an international protected person, being the representative of the British government in Nigeria as well as other staff of High Commission and Embassy of the United States of America, leaving the defendant to continue his terrorist activity who have led to an international incident involving Nigeria and other foreign nations who are good partners with Nigeria. The question to ask again is whether bombing or attacking embassies of high commissions constitutes an act consistent with agitation for self-determination. Again, the answer is no. All these acts goes to show that the criminal tendency of the defendant as well as show concrete proof of his terrorist acts. Therefore, I hold without hesitation that the prosecution has successfully established count 6 against the defendant. Consequently, he is hereby convicted of count 6 of the charged.
So in the verdict, Nnamdi Kanu was, convicted on 7 counts. Now, the first count was the treasonable felony. That is one, attempting to disrupt Nigeria's constitutional order. And he was found guilty of that offense. Now, count number 2 was incitement. He was making broadcasts described as threatening national security. And he was also convicted on that. Now, count 3 was the illegal possession of firearms, which, as alleged by the prosecution, he was also guilty on that. And the 4 was his membership of a proscribed group, which is the IPOB, which was labeled as a terrorist organization in 2017. Now, number 5 was financing of terrorism, alleged support to IPOB operations. Number 6 was operating a radio station without license, which was Radio Biafra broadcast. And number 7 was defamation and threats against the Nigerian state, statements against government and the security agencies. So on count 1, Nnamdi Kanu was, found guilty on act of terrorism against FRN by making broadcasts, by threatening that people would die and the world will be at a standstill. So that was the first count of count 1. Count 2, they said that he gave threat enforcing illegal sit-at-home order to people to go and, cause mayhem. And count 3 was belonging to a proscribed organization.
Sit-at-home without any declaration of a sit-at-home without any constitutional power, especially the accompanied by the threat, is a terrorist act. The defendant did not present any evidence to rebut this case, the case of the prosecution. Consequently, he admits the evidence as presented by the prosecution. The prosecution has successfully proved count 2 beyond reasonable doubt. Consequently, the defendant is hereby convicted of count 2.
Now, on count 6 charges, the court found Nnamdi Kanu guilty on count 6 for making a broadcast in Nigeria against the federal government, where he ordered members of the IPOB members to manufacture bombs and other explosives. That was count 6 that he was convicted. And on count 7, the prosecution successfully established the 7 charges against the defendant beyond reasonable doubt and was consequently convicted on all 7 charges. So that was the 7 charges. Now, the court at the point even read out at the point where Nnamdi Kanu was on Radio Biafra and, asking people that how many people did you also
with animals, Fulani Janjawi, they do not reason, unquote. It is important to state that the said hotels and Muritala Muhammad Airport and other property in Lagos, they are not in the north, where it seems to hate with passion. Even his own fellow Igbos people have property in Lagos. With destroying the property is said to be agitation for self-determinations. The threats and destruction which follow were corroborated in Exhibit PWD2, which is a pictorial pictures of the assessment of damage done to the Nigerian police alone in the state of southern states.
I mean, let me, for the purpose of, this video, for people to understand, and because the judge, James Omotosho, read verbatim what he said, let's listen to what Nnamdi Kanu said in one of his broadcasts on Radio Biafra.
And I want Lagos airport to be on flames. Breach the perimeter fence. Go and burn down Lagos. Anybody, if you have double barrel, if you have pistol, anything you have, give it to them, let them go and kill them, penetrate the airport and set Motoram Mohammed Airport on fire. Set it ablaze right now. Then the world will listen. You are dealing with animals. Fulani Janjaweed, they are animals. They do not reason. They do not reason. You don't know them. You don't know them. Are they not killing people? The caller on the line, can you hear me? Yes, please. Good evening to you. Yes, go ahead.
Well, my name is Sideverugu, calling from Lagos.
What is happening where you are?
We was at Oshoda Papa Expressway. They was shooting us there. It's 5 people that they killed this evening.
How many policemen died? I don't want to hear they kill us, they kill us. How many did you kill? How many police or army did you kill? How many?
They have burned the Lafa police station. They have burned it down. They burned the Select police station. They burned the Urile police station down. Everything is down now as I'm speaking.
Thank you very much. That is, since if you go to my page, you will see a flag there. Nigerian flag stained with blood. So the flag that people should be carrying should no longer be green, white, green, but green, white, and red.
So basically, Nnamdi Kanu was convicted on, these charges, which goes into terrorism charges. So, he will now be awaiting his sentencing. Now, it is estimated that he could, spend so many years behind bars or even life imprisonment if, God doesn't intervene. But that is what it is with Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. That is it. What do you make of the sentencing? Do you think that, they were very open to him, or you think it's injustice? Leave your comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think.